We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. You're tuning in again for another great day. My name is Hassani, and every morning we come to you at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So wherever you may be in the country or around the world, we thank you for your sacrifice. We thank you for your commitment. We thank you for your stick-to-itivism to join us for a conversation. And I love it when we engage together. If it's just a monologue and I'm just the one talking and I'm not hearing from you, it's not as fun. But when you get engaged and you ask questions and you make comments and we're able to get into something that is awesome and powerful, like a good cipher, it all of a sudden becomes something different. So we want to welcome all of you, wherever you're calling from. We want you to tell us the location so that we can acknowledge you. Thank you for being a part of this community. And listen, because you watch every single day. Listen, if you like something and if something's good, you want to tell other people you know. That's why we want you to subscribe, like, and share. Every time you hit that like button, you give other people an opportunity who do not know about us to find out about us so that they can get what it is that they need. So like, share, and subscribe, folks. Let's build this community up. We are in a 4-part series. We've been talking about infidelity, myths, and facts. First 2 days we were on the myths. On yesterday, we began to unpack some facts and statistics, and we're going to continue that conversation today. But listen, I got to let you know, we got good news for some, maybe not for others, but we are officially sold out. The Audacity of Marriage Retreat 2021 is sold out. No more room left. So for those who have registered, listen, we're excited for you. But if you haven't registered, you're like, shucks, man, I wish I could have made it. Or you know what? July just didn't work out for me. Maybe there's another date. Well, there is. October 21st through the 23rd. We are having the retreat. And every time we do it slightly different. It's not the same way. So if you've come before, you have the opportunity to come again. If you haven't come yet, here's your opportunity. So click that link in the description. It is the same. New dates, new information, register. You can be the first one. We keep them limited because we're just sensitive to the fact that, we're still making that transition out of the pandemic into normalcy. So we keep them small and quaint for a reason. And I think what happens is bonds are formed, relationships are developed when you have a smaller group, and then they begin to exist beyond the event, which is really exciting. So if you haven't registered, make sure you do that. It's just $297. But listen, guys, we're going to get into today's topic. We're talking about, once again, infidelity, myths, and facts. Let's start the conversation. Now, on yesterday, we were breaking down statistics. I'm not going to review those. If you want to get a review, just go back one video in the playlist and you'll see it. But in continuing about the facts of infidelity, we did a series on the why of the affair. Like, why did I cheat? Well, we have some new statistical data, which also will give you a few other reasons as to why people do what they do, both men and women. So let's talk about it. Number one, 44% of men who cheat because they want sex more often in their marriage. I find it quite interesting. Typically, the sexual interaction between a husband and wife earlier in the relationship is obviously much more rapid, much more frequent, much more consistent. And then over the course of time, we see that it dips off significantly due to a number of different factors. There's so many complications that take place in life and in relationship. And that's one of the areas that suffers the most. Number one, we know statistically that many women's desirability plummets at a much more rapid rate than husbands. And oftentimes that's due to the very thing everything that women desire in the first place. They desire marriage and they desire family. So now they're not just a wife, but they're a mother. But with wife and mother comes responsibilities, obligations, duties. You're serving other people. And so at the end of the day, you're exhausted. You're not thinking about it. You have no time for it. And so while you were more involved in maybe an initiator in the beginning, it's just like that's the last thing on your list. And so there's that desire for the man never goes away. So as her desirability goes down because he's getting less, his desirability goes up. And now you have two different libidos that are battling to figure out who's going to rule the day in the relationship. And typically the one with the lower libido wins. Unfortunately, that's how it typically goes. And because of that, now we have children, right? My hormones in my body, everything's changing, right? I'm dealing with more things, or maybe our work schedules. Like there are couples legitimately who do not see each other until the weekend because one is working a shift, the other's working a competing shift, and they're like two ships passing in the middle of the night. They barely see each other. And if they do come together to connect, it's either early in the morning or the wee hours of the morning when one gets off work. And that's their arrangement. That's their agreement. It works for them. But for most couples, it just doesn't. And so at the end of the day, weekends we come together if we do. But by that time, there's so many other things that we have to do because we were so busy during the week that it doesn't happen then. Then you have other relational challenges. We know that when there's a significant dip in sexuality, oftentimes for most people, it's not like there's anything physically wrong, but there's something emotionally wrong. There's a unresolved issue that has not properly been dealt with. It impacts the relationship. And once again, sex is one of the things that is affected. So when men stop having it at the pace, those who are unfaithful, that is their main reason why. It's not like they want to live. And first of all, folks, hear me. You need to hear me. You need to hear me. I am, Danielle is, Couples Academy. We are infidelity recovery specialists. We are here to help you heal and to help you restore your relationship. So when we come on here and we're telling you why people do what we do, don't get the impression that we're justifying it. Don't get the impression. We don't do that here. There is no justification, but we have to have an understanding as to what is wrong, what is not happening, what contributes to the decision, what vulnerabilities are created in the relationship. Now, acceptance is not agreeing that it was okay, not giving it a pass, not making it all right, but acceptance means, okay, I accept that that was a contributing factor to why you did what you did. Those who struggle with acceptance are the ones who suffer the most. And so therefore, press the button to get the camera back on. I don't know what happened, folks. Little technical difficulty, but hopefully we're back. All right. So there it is. If you accept the reality of what's happening, okay, it allows you to begin the healing process a lot sooner. We don't accept that it's okay. We don't accept that this is the new norm. We don't accept the behavior as being okay. We don't do that. But we need to begin to understand, not agree, but understand and accept that this is the reality that we're faced with. And now this is what it is. Let's talk about this. Okay? 40% of men who cheat want variety in their sexual partner. Not variety with other people, but variety within the sexual experience with their partner. As we've heard before, monogamy oftentimes leads to monotony, predictability, same way, same time, same position, same everything. And things become stale after a while. So the ability of doing things different, the ability of bringing new and different into that experience really enhances it. But, a lot of times people just get bored and that becomes their justification. Now, what I do know for sure is that there's some people who choose to bring it up and choose to talk about it. And maybe it's never really dealt with. Maybe there's pushback. Maybe there's defensiveness. Maybe there's deniability. But then some people don't say a word, right? They haven't communicated. They haven't made it crystal clear. And so rather than having conversations with their spouse, they wind up having conversations with themselves. That's the beginning of the disconnect. And then there's a shift. because I'm not talking to you, I'm going to find somebody else to connect with. And so that's when they begin to venture off into other areas that we would consider inappropriate. And there's the slippery slope beginning. And now they're engaged physically with someone else. 40%, folks, 40%. That's a huge percentage. So the first 44% is because there wasn't enough. And the next 40% is because it wasn't unique or special or significant or different enough. We'll be right back. There's more to get through. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear your questions. Hopefully you're getting something out of this conversation. We'll be right back. This is the Couples Academy Show. Couples Academy is expanding its team to meet the growing demand of people in need of help around the world. So if you're a trained, licensed, or certified expert in marriage enrichment, infidelity recovery, sex therapy, life coaching, cognitive behavioral therapy, divorce mediation, financial coaching, or family therapy, contact us today. All right, guys, we're back here watching the Couples Academy show. Listen, I want to say good morning to Jay and Toots and Corliss and Glenda and Jody, Vashawn, Ralph, Frank, Gorgeous Wales. I want to know the name, but I want to know the history or the story behind that name, Gorgeous Wales. Would love to know that. Savell, hope I'm saying that right. LaShawn, Pam, Rick, Cheryl, DC, Tiffany, Raguru, hope I'm saying that right. Monica. And the list goes on and on. Glad that you're here. We see that you're from all over the country and all over the world. Listen, guys, we're talking about this very important topic, infidelity myths and facts. I see your questions. We're going to do that in the third segment, but let's get right back into what it is that we're talking about. We're talking about the why, statistically, why people cheat. Number three, 40% of women, interestingly enough, 40% of women cheat because they want more emotional attention. Now, if you've been watching long enough, or if this is your first time, we've told you that there's a major difference between your marriage and your relationship. Here on the marriage side, you have partnership. Here on the relationship side, you have companionship. This requires hard skills. This requires soft skills. So as a partner in my marriage, I'm responsible for generating income, managing finances, parenting the children, taking care of things around the house, cooking, cleaning, fixing, repairing, the normal, everyday, dutiful responsibilities of managing a household. Okay, that's marriage, that's partnership. But then you have relationship companionship. Companionship is what? Sexual fulfillment, emotional connection, blending of personalities, effective communication, the heartfelt connection between two people. This is where we struggle and suffer the most. By default, we'll be partners in the marriage because if we don't, everything's going to fall apart. But we don't give enough time to the relationship. So many men in particular, because most men who cheat don't want to leave their marriage. They want their marriage. They want the marriage, but they don't care about the relationship. They want the marriage, but they want to form relationships with other people. We see women who do the same thing. They want the marriage because it benefits them, right? The financial security, the familiarity, having your own home. There are benefits to why people want to stay in their marriage, but then the relationship, they're not investing the time, energy, and effort. And then we wonder how it dies. I was talking to a client in Germany. He's just like, you know what, the grass, for some people, the grass looks greener on the other side. That grass is manicured, that it's edged, right? You know, they got the sprinkler system going on over there. We got nothing but dirt, dry ground over here. And that's what many couples are experiencing because they're not putting in enough effort, really investing in the relational aspect of their union. And so what happens is many men, unfortunately, either A, don't know what they're doing, right? Or they don't put value and prioritize loving on their wife and giving their wife what they need. And so at the end of the day, they're not getting the emotional attention because there's no emotional connection. We've lost the connection. We've gone from soulmate to roommate to cellmate. There's an emotional disconnect. And if I'm not talking to you and giving you quality time and, making you laugh the way I did and really checking in on you and seeing how you're doing, if I've prioritized other things, now my spouse may be physically near me in our close proximity within the household, but emotionally distant and disconnected. There's a drift. And so they have a desire for connection. See, men like to bond, women like to connect. Bonding doesn't necessarily require a whole lot of talking. Bonding requires physical proximity. Bonding could require engaging in an activity together, but we don't have to do a whole lot of talking because we're together. We're bonding. But women desire connection, and connection speaks to the ability to communicate. Tell me what's on your heart. Tell me what's on your mind. Tell me about your day. Tell me about what you're feeling. Tell me about what you're thinking. And because there's a breakdown of communication, generally speaking, between a lot of men and women, we're not talking. And that means that they're not getting filled because we're not talking. We're not connecting. We're not giving them attention. We're not looking at them the way that we used to look at them. And so as a result, they feel like, well, good God, why am I in this thing? How am I benefiting? There was a strong emotional tie in the beginning. We don't have it anymore. And so there's a desire to have that connection. And if I can't connect with you, I will connect with someone else. Now, do I sound like I'm justifying this? No, it's absolutely wrong for a person to cheat. But this is a contributing factor as to why people do what they do. Hope this is helping, folks. 33% of women who cheat want to be reassured that they're still desirable. So we know that in societies around the world, a lot of women's value is placed in their beauty, in their body. So that's why they go to the nail salon. That's why they go to the hairdresser. That's why they buy perfume. That's why they go to the gym. That's why they wear beautiful clothes, because they're beautifying themselves. And guess what? You loved it in the beginning. You couldn't keep your hands off of her in the beginning. You couldn't stop telling her how beautiful she is and babe, that dress, and oh my God, you smell so good in your hair, and da-da-da-da. But then over the course of time, normalcy sets in. You stop articulating the things that you used to articulate. They no longer feel desirable. But yet when they step outside, at the supermarket, at work, at church, at the gym, it doesn't even matter what they're wearing. They could be dressed from top to bottom looking good, or they can go out with a basic sweatsuit on and sneakers, and yet will catch the attention of someone else. They feel desired. And because it's dry bones up in here and I'm receiving all of this attention and affection and compliments, I feel desire. And so here we go. That can lead to an emotional affair. Remember, we said emotional affairs show up two ways. Either I like the person, or I like how I feel when I'm with the person. So the feeling that I'm longing for is desirability. I don't feel that in the marriage. I feel that with him. And because I feel desired when I'm with him and by him, I like that feeling. And because I like that feeling, I want more of that feeling. So I spend more time with him, which ultimately means slowly but surely, I begin to like him. This is why it's so important to maintain your relationship, to plant seeds into your relationship, to water your relationship, because this happens all the time. 11% of women who cheat because of revenge. Well, you did it, I'm gonna do it. You gonna live your life, I'm gonna live mine. You gonna have your fun, I'm gonna have my fun too. Okay, that's what we doing now. That's how we doing. Listen, I done stood behind you or next to you for 10 years, 15 years, and you never stopped. And now, because I had one or two, it's a No, we're evening up the score. Revenge. And a lot of times when a person's unfaithful and then their wife cheats, they cannot handle it. They cannot handle it. They can dish it. They can't take it. That becomes a problem. So revenge sex. And then you start having conversations. Well, maybe, I think we need to open this relationship. I want an open marriage. Right. And then we have all the crazy that takes place in relationships. Well, fine. I don't want an open marriage, but I'll give you a pass. I'll give you a hall pass. I'm like, what's a hall? Like, I'm learning from my client. What's a hall pass? Oh, well, I give her an opportunity to go out there and have her fun and do what she does, and that will make her feel good, even up the score. And now we can come back into this committed relationship. Really? Hall passes, that's what we're doing, as if that will solve the problem. It won't, because now you may give her an opportunity to have something that she hasn't had, and now she may like it and want more of it. Now that creates a problem. Or the hall pass, because it was just one time. Now it's torturing your mind because you're thinking about that experience and who your spouse was with, and was it good, and were they better than me, and I can't take this anymore. I'm tortured. So this hall pass idea doesn't work. See, this is the crazy. When you open up Pandora's box, anything can happen. You got to leave it alone. You got to shut it down. You got to close your marriage. Stop cheating, because not only is there the immediate impact of what happens, but the long-term impact that many of us are not ready for. Guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. We got one more segment. We'll be right back. Stay tuned, and we're going to get to your questions and your answers. Hey guys, we're back. This is the third segment in the Couples Academy show. Hopefully you're getting something out of this conversation. We want to go straight to the comments and the questions. Cheryl says, how can you show and earn trust again from your partner after infidelity when you are not together? What do you say when he said, I don't trust you? I have no faith. You ruined me. The video's still not on. I don't know. We're having complications, folks. If you can't see me, you can hear me. Just click that again. Just try it. Click it again. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. But what we're going to do so that you can see me, I'm going to switch. Boom. There I am. Can you see me now? All right. I don't look as good from this angle, but we're going to do the best we can. All right. So here we go. So the reality is, if you're not together, it's hard to trust somebody who you cannot see. You don't know where they're at. And this is why it's important that if you're not together, I don't know if you're divorced or you're just separated. This is why we encourage you to go into what we call a controlled separation, because with a controlled separation, even though you're physically separate in two different spaces and places, there are times when you come together, right? Intentional times. Then there is a level of transparency that you have to operate in even when you're not together, because even though I'm not in your presence or you're not in my presence, I'm allowing your presence to be with me wherever I go. Right? The whole purpose of a controlled separation is to restore the relationship. If you're separated planning on a divorce, you don't need a controlled separation. But if you think there's a possibility, if you have a desirability for things to get better, There are specific things that we do in this controlled separation that allows for visibility, transparency, the rebuilding of trust, effective communication, check-ins, and continual work to improve the relationship as you move forward. So hopefully that answers your question, my sister. All right, we're going to go to another one. Cheryl, you wrote a book. I'm going to try to get to it. This is a lot. We had a great time the past 5 days. We made love and we reconnected. We laughed and almost like no infidelity happened. I felt his love and he felt mine. After 3 days, he said he was waiting for me to communicate, but I didn't. I was afraid to bring up how I was feeling. I wanted him to start because I don't want to come pushy. He needed me to communicate. He allowed me back to the house when he knew that the kids were on vacation and his housemate won't be home. He let his guard down because they're not around. I know he is afraid. What are you saying? I don't know if you have a question. I'm trying to understand what this is. I need you to come with a question. We deal with these questions live, so it's not like we're preparing. There's no prep for this. So do me a favor, just turn that into a question so I can understand what you're saying. Gorgeous Well says, to answer your question, I asked her, what's the story behind her name? She says, really nothing behind the name. I'm just a wife listening to you and to the show daily. Well, we're glad that you're here. Glenda said, that's good. They want the marriage, but not the relationship. That's why I experience along with unresolved issues. And that's the thing, guys and women. Listen, if you're going to be married, like, why are you in it? Even if you're just together for the kids, if you're just together for the finances, things are not good. Like, if you're making the commitment to stay in the relationship, why don't you just do something about it? Why don't you step outside of your norm and try to do something that will enhance the quality of your relationship so you can get the restored relationship back that you desire? It's just that simple. When you do that, everything begins to change. All right, we have another question. How do you trust when there is a child from the affair? Great question. We're actually dealing with that with quite a few couples now. Here's the deal. The child is the result of an affair. And so a lot of times affairs have consequences. There's challenges that come along the way that we have to deal with that we wouldn't have dealt with if there was no aftermath to that affair. So how do you trust? The way that you trust is, since there has to be communication and interaction between your spouse and the affair partner because of the child, you have to be a part of that engagement, of that interaction, of that communication, period, point blank. They can't have separate interactions, separate conversations, doing their own thing, connecting, making parental decisions without you. That will breed more distrust. And so if there's any pushback on that from your spouse or the affair partner, it's time for former affair partner. It's time for a serious conversation, because that will always be a trigger. If it happened once, it can happen again, and them having their own private conversations and private visitations does not create security in the relationship. So there's gotta be rules of engagement when you two come together to figure out how you live life now that there's a child in your world. All right, guys, I hope that helps. I'm going to go back to a couple more statistics. I thought this was very interesting. You know, it's always been assumed that men are cheaters and women are far behind, but we see that women, fast approaching, it's almost neck and neck. Check this out. 80% of women have frequent fantasies about someone other than their partner. 80%. It's 98% for men. Now, once again, I always look at these statistics with a grain of salt. I don't know how many people they're interviewing. I don't know what the cross section is. I don't know. We just don't know the story behind these numbers, but these are alarming numbers. That means for some reason or another, our minds begin to drift. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that 80% and 98% of men and women actually cheat, but the thought of the fantasy of what life would be like with this one or with that one, or if there's not a specific man or woman that you're thinking of, but the idea of someone else, what life would be like without you, alone, on my own, with other people, like, there's something behind that. Okay, so maybe someone can make the argument, oh, it's just a natural curiosity. Okay, but then we would see, because there's such a high percentage, there may be something to that. And so this is why we say it's important for you and your spouse to communicate regularly to find out what is going on. Right? What is at the heart of this? What is at the root of this? What is it that you need in this relationship that we need to talk through so that we can figure out how to get on the same page so we're meeting each other's needs? These are the things that are so critically important that we need to discuss if we're going to protect and shield our marriage from ever experiencing an affair for the first time or an affair again. Guys, this was a 4-part series on infidelity myths and facts. I hope that you got something out of this. Listen, we have more to come, more information to come, more subject matter, more topics. We would love to hear from you. What is it that you want to hear? You need to tell us, because we can take the time to prepare to give you what you need. But even with these videos, as great as they are, some of you need a little bit more. So I would encourage you, pick up the phone and contact us, 678-200-8996. Go to the website, couplesacademy.org. Set up a free discovery call. Let's talk through your situation. Couples are calling from all over the world because they want something different. They want something new. They want something more. You can have that too, as long as you make the decision to step outside of your box and do something different. Guys, we love you. Hope you have an amazing weekend. This is 4th of July weekend. Live it up. Eat, but not a lot. Have fun, not too much. Enjoy yourself. And we'll see you on Monday for another great episode. Love you guys. Take care.